welcome to Full Throttle. I'm your host, Justin Putzer, and in the co-host seat, I have Will Bain tonight.
Hello,
So
hello.
we are here to talk all things NASCAR. So, Will, what have you heard lately on
Oh,
the Daytona 500 incident? We'll see if what I have heard um matches up.
the last thing I remember hearing is the Daytona 500 is sold out. That's the last news that I remember hearing.
Okay.
What you
I
got?
heard today that there's I believe 7 or 8 open cars, including the 62
Mm-hmm.
and the I believe 16. Well, no, 16 may be open, but there's about 7 or 8 cars that have to qualify their way in from what I heard.
Wow,
So
that's quite a lot of open cars.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that means what, three don't make it or something like that.
Yeah. We wouldn't make it if my math is correct.
So it's the 36 charter cars, and then you'd have four out of those open cars
Yeah.
that they'd make it. Those four would make it. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not a math whiz, but I believe that means three.
I got a math for a secret, but that's easy math.
Easy for you to say. It's hard for me. I'm not good at math at all. Another thing I've heard about, you mentioned the 16. I don't think there's going to be a full-time driver for that car next year. I think it's going to be split between a bunch of cars, well, a bunch of drivers.
Yeah, that's also what I heard. AJ Allmendinger is supposed to run it in the Daytona 500.
Mm.
That's all I heard. How about you?
I've heard rumors that Ty Dillon may drive it some. Uh, they don't. I don't think that he's going to drive it full time, or even most of the time. I think they're going to split that car up like they I think it was that car that they used to split up. Or maybe it was a different car that they were splitting up.
Yeah, but I think you're right.
Hmm.
Um, so the spotted combinations, I heard um that Case Elliott will have a new spotter this year.
Yes, I saw that too. I don't know if they've announced who it is though. Do you?
I do not, but I know Eddie DeHaant's going over to work with, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, uh, the four car, maybe. I
I
think it's
think it was
what
a
I
Stewart Haas car.
think it's what I heard. They
I don't
want
know if it
him to
was.
work with Josh Bailey.
I don't know if it was him or Noah Gregson. I can find out though.
Yeah, find out and we'll come back again.
Yeah, you get to watch my screen flash in my glasses. Boom,
Yeah,
bam. Look at all that scrolling. You can see what I'm scrolling in my glasses. I bet.
yeah. Um,
Yes, you are right. Eddie DeHaan is moving over to the four. I thought it was Noah Gregson, but yes, it is the four.
with Noah Goodson, what do you expect out of him this year? Yeah.
Not much. Not much, to be honest. And this is saying nothing about him as a person. Frankly, there's no driver I really dislike. So nothing I say is ever because of a negative feeling I have towards them. Uh, except Chase Elliott sometimes, just to make his fans mad. I like Chase. Uh, I don't expect much. I don't expect much from anybody at Stewart Haas next year. I think it's going to be they got the 41. I'm looking at the numbers here. The 41, 14, 10, 4. That's rookie, basically a rookie, still young, still young. So they don't really have anybody that can serve as a leader driver on that team. Closest you get is Chase Briscoe, and we see how he did last year. Even
Hmm.
if you remove that 100-point penalty, I think it was 100 points. Uh, he didn't really do too hot anyway. So if that's the driver you're relying on as the leader, then you're just gonna have to use that year to I guess rebuild or
Rebuild.
something like that. I guess that would be the cliche word to use, but nonetheless, the word being used.
Um, so uh we do have an announcement to make here for follow while we
One
have
announcement.
you on. There is a new podcast coming on called the Lap Down series. And
Yes.
I've been invited to join the team over at Lap Down as well.
Really?
Yes.
That's cool, man. That's gonna be fun for you.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
don't know if you know this about that podcast. This little tidbit of information. They have a intro piece of music that's being composed for that podcast, and I'm the one composing it. So I guess you could
yeah,
say I'm involved with that podcast as well.
yeah. Um, but why I just wanted to throw that in there while we were both on here. But what do you think about Kevin Howard? What's he going to be like in the booth under your impression of what he's done in the booth in the past?
I don't know because I don't really watch NASCAR on TV all that much. Uh, I split it between just watching it on my phone here at home. I see my microphone clipping. I'm gonna turn that down here. Uh, Watching it just on my phone, listening to Bubba's radio and watching the in-car camera, and sometimes getting to watch it when I go down and visit family. Uh, so I don't really have that much of an opinion on anybody in the booth really, except Jeff Burton doesn't know how to talk. Uh, he messes up names constantly, which is funny. I like Jeff Burton too. I'm not dogging him. It's just funny listening to him try to say Van Gisbergen. Uh, so I don't know. Oh, I guess we're just gonna have to find out.
Yeah, we will.
What
That's
do you think?
one thing we'll find out together. Um, so what do you think about the cookie pairings for this year? How do you think Bonnie Killers will do with the before mentioned um forecast of Josh Berry?
I
What do
think
you
having
expect out of that pairing?
having somebody like Rodney Childers is gonna uh help Josh Berry out a lot. Uh, Granted, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to Josh Berry last year. I didn't pay a lot of attention to anybody but Bubba Wallace last year. Uh, just out of selfishness, I guess you could say. Uh, but I know that Rodney Childers is one of, if not the best crew chiefs out there in the field right now. So having him in your corner coaching you can't do anything but help unless it is just such a catastrophic situation that they don't get along whatsoever, which happens with people sometimes. That's just how people naturally just don't get along sometimes. Uh, but I think that's going to be that would be a tough thing a very rare thing to have happen, especially uh with somebody as knowledgeable as Rodney Childers. I don't see something that catastrophic happening. I think it's going to help Josh quite a bit.
Yeah, I think so too. No, how much do you think Josh Berry's going to lean on Kevin Harvick? They had that commercial where Kevin Harvick handed over the keys to to Josh Berry from the four-car and let him know And I thought that was pretty neat that
Yeah,
they did that.
I'll have to go find it because I didn't see it. Like I didn't. I don't where was I don't remember if I even got to watch the last race. Uh, if that's when it aired, but it would depend on how much Kevin Harvick can be involved with him being on TV or because that TV is a really big responsibility. You have a lot you have to do that, so that probably won't leave a lot of time for Kevin Harvick to go in and help coach Josh Berry. But they can still text back and forth, or maybe have phone calls or FaceTime calls or Zoom calls
Yeah.
uh every
Or
now and then.
do
But I think Kevin will try to help as much as he can.
what what do you think about the pi- the possibility of seeing a back-to-back champion in Ryan Blaney?
Uh, so this is you put me on the spot here. You see whose hat I got on right now. Uh, Half me wants to say I hope it doesn't happen because of course I hope Bubba wins the championship next year. But at the
Hmm.
same time, that's Bubba's best friend, so I can't just outright say that, can I?
No, you can't.
And I like Ryan too. Ryan's cool.
So, so what what do you think about the pairing of Bu- since you're a Bubba Wallace fan, Bubba
Mhm.
Wallace Cookie and Boogie Barker and how they'll do this year?
They took leaps and strides last year. Uh, they spent a lot of 2022 getting to know each other and uh working through work when you're working with a new person, you always have hiccups, you always have uh moments of tension. They spent a lot of time that year working through that and learning how each other operates and what to say to each other, what not to say to each other, how to Booty learning how to coach Bubba. Uh, and then they just went into 2023 and had the best year of both their careers. If they wouldn't have, I say they, if Bubba wouldn't have blown that win at Texas, he would have been in the round of eight. So I think it speaks for itself that I know they can't say that the only way to go is up anymore because they can go down from here. Uh, but there's still the sky's still the limit.
So, as we wrap up the show here tonight,
Hmm.
um, give us your kind of prediction for the whole year, Daytona 500 campaign and all that.
The whole year. Oh, how much time you got? Uh, Daytona 500. I think I can't really say Ford now because they've got the new body and we don't know how that's going to work. Chevy doesn't have a new body though, and Toyota's got a new body, so we don't know how those are going to work in the air. So I think you're probably going to see a Chevy win it. I don't know who, uh, because I know a lot of Chase Elliott fans and yourself as well. I can see the Napa hat.
Hmm.
Uh, are listening and watching. I'm going to say I hope Chase doesn't win. Uh, but if he does, I will be very happy for him and for you more than anybody else. Uh, for the year, I think it's going to take some time for those bodies to them to learn how to work with the arrow on those bodies. Uh, so I think you're going to see a little bit of a Chevy wave at the start, a Chevy Mirage, I guess you could say. But once they start, whoever starts figuring out how to work those bodies the best is going to rise to the top first. Obviously, I hope in the Toyota camp that's William Darrell Bubba Wallace Jr. Uh, but who knows who it could be? For the playoffs, I don't think you're going to see much different, except you don't have Kevin Harvick there anymore. So I think the person that's going to be taking that 16th spot is going to be Chase Elliott because he didn't make it last year. I keep forgetting that, by the way. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
it so I think you're going to see pretty much the same 16 drivers with the addition of Chase in the spot of Kevin Harvick. Uh, I hope Chase does better because it sucks seeing my friends unhappy about that. Uh, I think you're going to see. I think the round of eight's going to be kind of different. Uh, let's see. I was sitting here thinking, do I want to be biased or not?
Yeah.
I think uh Bubba's going to make the round of eight next year. I think Chase is going to make the round of eight next year. Now the final four is a big ask for Bubba as he's still rising and coming into his own.
Mm-hmm.
I think Blaney will make it. Uh, Kyle Larson, I think, is going to make it because why wouldn't he?
Yeah. Why wouldn't
Who else we got? I'm trying to think of drivers, but I can't remember any other than those.
we
Uh,
might have uh shoot, I don't know either.
uh, maybe Byron. I don't. I'm not sure about Byron though. Uh, I don't know if 2023 was just kind of a flash in the pan year for him or not,
Yeah.
but we'll see. Riffing off, that Chevy body that hasn't changed. He may be one of the main Chevy drivers winning races at say like the first quarter of the year. You never know.
Yeah. So before we let Will go, uh so tell us, Will, real quick, what do you know about the new podcast coming out? Because I got invited on as one of the overseers, but I don't know much about the podcast. So,
I don't know much about the content of the podcast. I think they're keeping that pretty tight. That or they just chose not to tell me. Which is the more likely option. Uh, I know I was invited to be a part of it as well, but uh, it wasn't a very strong invite. Like, please come do it, because I have a lot going on now, as they know, uh, as you know as well. I just released a music album last November, this past month. I'm acting like it was like 10 years ago that it got released, but it was like 2 weeks or 3 or 4 weeks, whatever. Uh, and I'm working on more new music as we speak, including the intro for that podcast. So I know that our good friend Jamie and Ben are a part of that. I believe our good friend Rumble is a part of that. I don't know if
mm,
any other Thomas Cup folks are a part of it aside from you. Uh, and they've got a couple other friends of theirs that are a part of it as well. So it seems like there's a lot of cooking that's going to be going on in that kitchen because there's quite a few people on that, and I'm happy to be part of it. If they want to invite me on and like talk about like the intro song or anything like that, like the process of how it was made and music and stuff like that, I'm perfectly fine with that.
well, I'll have to let them know.
Yeah, hopefully they'll see this.
So, but thank you for coming on my
Yeah,
program, Full
absolutely.
Funnel.
Thank
Merry
you for having me.
Christmas if we don't get around to another Full Funnel, and Happy New Year. This has been Justin Putzer with Full Funnel. Goodbye,
Merry Christmas.
everyone.